First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has described recent U.S. attention on Nigeria, including scrutiny over security and alleged attacks on Christians, as a blessing that brings global focus to the country's challenges and reforms. Speaking in an interview with Fox News Digital, she reflected on this unexpected recognition from President Donald Trump, who referred to her as a, quote, very respected woman and a Christian pastor during the U.S. National Prayer Breakfast. She also linked this heightened international attention to progress, stating that if something is going to be good, it will come from the rebels. Then when we have the attention, the conversations, and we expect that there will be more. Now, addressing concerns about religious violence, the First Lady emphasized that Nigeria's constitution guarantees freedom of religion and highlighted security measures taken by the Tinubu administration, including the recruitment of more police, more military, and also arming forest guards. Now, these comments come after the U.S. airstrikes on militant camps in Nigeria, the hiring of a U.S. lobbying firm by the Nigerian government to communicate its efforts to protect Christian communities. Now, Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to speak about how the First Lady is leveraging this soft power diplomacy to improve the relationship between Nigeria and the U.S., and why these efforts should be geared towards a stronger relationship between the two. Mr. Sobowale, good to see you. Good to have you on this topic today.
It's a pleasure of being here, Sheila.
Yes. So I think, what's interesting about this interview, at least to me, is the fact that it's so rare to see Nigerian politicians or leaders grant interviews, period. I mean, I don't even know the last time maybe the First Lady granted an interview to a Nigerian network. So for her to be in the US and grant one to Fox, I mean, I think that's why so many people were paying attention, because you don't often hear from them in these ways. So what do you kind of make of this interview, and why do you think it took place right now?
This is diplomacy now. Exigential diplomacy. And she's making a success of it. I'm particularly happy as a PR practitioner that it is Fox News that is interviewing her, not CNN. It makes a world of difference in the way the US reacts to Nigeria. And the issue on the table, this accusation of genocide. I'm even happier that Trump could single out our own First Lady in the National Assembly forum and praise her. You see, that is very significant, very, very significant, because Trump is impulsive and he can be easily misinformed. Remember what happened to South Africa over apartheid? Because Elon Musk, who comes from South Africa, although he's an American now, gave him the information that it is whites that are being killed in South Africa, whereas Trump doesn't seem to understand even what apartheid means or meant. You saw how he reacted to their president and humiliated their president. So, obviously, we are in the good books of the Trump administration, and it's safer and better to be in his good books, because if you remember, there is a president of Venezuela and the wife languishing in their jail now, who are forcibly taken from their presidential palace. So it's a good thing for us that the president's wife, who happens to be a pastor and who happens to be a Christian, even though the husband is a Muslim, is the one holding brief now for Nigeria on the accusation that genocide is going on in Nigeria. It is good diplomacy. It is good diplomacy, and I wish her the best. Although if you look at it in political terms, she will pay a price for it. She will pay a price for it. Because this country is running what we call a Muslim ticket now. That has polarized the country. And people I'm sure they are still holding their breath, the opposition. And the people in the other religion, you will soon see a spate of attacks on her. But for the moment, I want her to enjoy the goodwill that this recognition and this visit has generated.
Indeed, Mr. Sobowale, I think we all were privy to that acknowledgement of the First Lady by President Trump, and it was a good one. But when you look at it with, in the full context of what's going on, in the same United States, we did see the government face criticism for the lobbying that was being done with I believe it was $4.5 million at the time. And then we also currently have boots on ground regarding the United States. When you look at that holistically, what would you say is the next course of action now that we've been able to achieve somewhat of a balance with the good acknowledgement that we've seen from our First Lady, and then with the criticism that we've seen with the government trying to sell more optics as opposed to doing the work that needs to be done?
Look, I said she will pay a price. That should answer your question. She's going to pay a price. For now, there is some, how do I put it, goodwill towards her for the effort. But when you look at the nitty-gritty of it, even there, in the Fox report, they put there that at a time when people are dying in Nigeria, they are spending a lot of money to lobby instead of arresting this dismal insecurity situation. That accusation is there. That is why I said it's too early to reach a conclusion yet. The opposition is not dormant in this country. And the donors are mainly Muslims, you get me? And the way they will interpret it is easy to imagine. So I expect a reaction one way or the other. But let her enjoy the limelight. Let us thank her.
Well, I'm not talking about reactions from opposition in this case. I'm talking about a balancing act. Like, what are the next steps that should be taken by the administration to capitalize on the goodwill that has come with this?
Well, you are trivializing the situation. The situation on the ground is eradicating the insecurity. And the Americans are already on the ground there.
The administration is being accused of trivializing the situation
by
putting more money in lobbying. No, I am not trivializing. They're being accused. I'm saying, how do they get things up to shift that perception?
There's nothing to shift about the perception. I even said it here. You get me? Like that, when the senator, Ted Cruz, was talking of genocide, I was saying government should send a lobby team to lobby Congress so that they do not pass that act. But they did it belatedly. Marco Rubio, who happens to be the Secretary of State too, was accusing Nigerian leadership of genocide. They are doing the lobbying, but you see, you don't do lobbying in the open. Now the crisis has broken. That's why they are saying, even in Fox News, that some news agencies did not grant the First Lady interviews because of what you have said. Because they are saying that the serious business is to nip the genocide in the bud and cross the insurrection so that Christians, like they perceive, are not being killed unnecessarily. So that is, diplomacy. She has played diplomacy, but that does not stop the political situation and security situation on the ground. So you can only play pressure up to a stage. It does not even address the problem. But then it is symbolic that she is a Christian and she is speaking up for Christians, even though the husband is the head of the government being accused of doing genocide.
Exactly. And I think that's a very good point, because it kind of leads me to my next question. It feels as though ever since Trump made that post, that video where he called Nigeria a now disgraced country and he said he would go in guns a-blazing, ever since then, it doesn't seem, or at least to our knowledge, that there's been a conversation or plans for a meeting between the actual leaders of both countries, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and President Trump. It's been the Foreign Secretary, the Secretary of State, senators, now the First Lady, people around the actual presidents. Can we expect an actual meeting between the leaders of the U.S. and Nigeria?
No, you don't have to have Trump meet Tinubu. You see, the commander of the U.S. forces in Africa met Tinubu yesterday. Together with, And then they met Tinubu, they met the Minister of Defense and the NSA. And they are saying that the cooperation is on the basis of intelligence, sharing information and things like that, but that they may not necessarily put boots on the ground, which is what people are afraid of. But I can assure you, meaningful institutional meetings are going on. And even the terrorists are aware that the Americans are looking at them after the Christmas strike. And that is why you have in some areas, some of these insurgents are moving down south. But you see, like the president's wife said, it's a good thing that the Americans have intervened. My own fear before was that, Trump is subject to so many misinformation. And I never wanted the sort of thing that happened to the South African president on apartheid to happen to us. So that Trump himself can identify president's wife in a crowd of people, and Fox News can interview. Fox News is like the ultimate mouthpiece for the Trump administration. Like they can interview her. It's some positive thing for us in terms of diplomacy. That does not end the insecurity on the ground. The insecurity on the ground has to be done violently and forcibly. And that is in the pipeline, hopefully.
Well said, Mr. Sobowale. Like let's focus on the security that you're pointing towards, that you've been talking about for a while. I've read a few articles over time in the past weekend that have looked at what we're doing in terms of getting partnerships and support from the likes of the United States and Turkey, and some are even saying it might happen with the United Kingdom when that state visit happens in March. But the criticism is coming from what will happen in the long term. We know that this is good for the short term, but people are saying that are we supposed to make this, are we trying to make security the duty of foreign partners? That why is there still no talk? Why are we still dancing around the conversation of state police? That should be a long-term solution that we have in the works. Do you think that even though we're addressing this right now, we're still, and we are not getting the results that we like, that conversation needs to happen sooner rather than later?
What conversation?
The conversation about state police, which is more long-term.
That is domestic, Cynthia. That is domestic. We are talking diplomacy now. And we are talking of collaboration to help us fight our domestic insurgency.
Yes.
And we know it is an internationalized one. You get me? This thing we are talking about started from 9/11. 2001, and it has escalated. It has reached our own scenario now, from Boko Haram in the northeast to the northwest, and then the Sahel. That was what led to the military intervention in 3 ECOWAS states. So let us sort out this international security cooperation. Let's separate that from state police. I won't want us to lump the two. There are 2 different issues. So let us look at this evolving. You see, before, people talk about sovereignty, violation of international space, but nobody talks about that in this Trump era. That's why I was able to go and capture a president. I was going, it doesn't respect NATO, it doesn't respect EU. So people are looking for partnerships. The EU is going to Latin America. The EU is going to India. India is going to the EU. This is because, you see, the global order, global geopolitics, has been given a boot. I don't know yet. It's been given the boot by Trump. And it has been disrupted. So people are looking for geopolitical regional cooperations to attack international insecurity, focused around what somebody called the clash of civilization. Which started from 9/11. This is, if you don't get it, it's a clash between Christianity and Islam, violent Islam. So that's the situation, and nobody can go it alone. The Russians have tried in the Sahel. They gave up in frustration. The French have abandoned ship and left the Francophone states. But now America too, the Americans were butchered out the last base in Niger Republic. But we are the one literally begging them to come back now. So let's admit to our geopolitical dangers and our incapacity or inability to confront it alone. Get me? And be grateful for outside help, if and when it comes. And later we'll tackle state police. Yes.
Mr. Dayo Sobowale, thank you for joining us for this conversation on the First Lady's, Remi Tinubu's interview on Fox News.